Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law, where as always, we learn through the misfortunes of others. I'm your host, Uncivil Law, a licensed attorney in Texas, Virginia, and before the U.S. Supreme Court. And welcome once again to the Thunderdome. Yes, it is that time of the week where we bring together all the stories that we don't have time for because so much things happen and we can only do so many things a day. But we do what we can to bring you the stories, and Thursday is where we bring all the stories together that otherwise did not get attention and need to be discussed. We begin with the story that continues to enrage me every single passing moment that it continues to somehow be a thing for some reason. The ongoing story that is Uvalde. Uvalde continues to frustrate me and anger me in every possible way, as I'm sure it does you too. As you'll recall, many children died as many police officers from basically every police department known to man, both federal and state, stood by with their thumbs up their asses. And it really pissed me off, and pissed a lot of other people off too, as you would expect. Well, some of the tapes have now come out. So a lot of this reporting is already known, but now we have tapes. So exciting and depressing and horrifying in every possible way. As law enforcement officials, numbering in the hundreds, hung around the fourth grade classroom in Uvalde, a student begged for help in a series of 911 calls, whispering in the phone that there were a lot of bodies and telling an operator, "Please, I don't want to die. My teacher is dead. Oh my God." I continue to want to know the name of every single officer who was there that day. I want to know the name of every single officer who was there that day, because I think they need to be appropriately honored for their actions. I wish to honor them for their actions and give them exactly the honor that they deserve. Yeah. At one point, the dispatcher asked Chloe if many people in the room are with the 10-year-old who ultimately survived. "No, it's just me, a couple of friends. A lot of people are," she said, gone. 10-year-old begging for help on the 911 call, begging for help, literally pleading for her life. Every single one of these officers deserves to burn in hell. Every single one of them. I hope they all burn in hell. I hope every single one of them has their name released, and I hope every single one of them burns in hell. I hope they all burn in hell, every single one of them. Because they sat by in the hundreds while children were dying and did nothing. They all deserve to burn in hell. That's how I feel about it. You know, just personally, I wish that all of them would suffer as much as all these students suffered. They deserve to be in panic and fear and helpless as they slowly see them and their loved ones die before they ultimately die themselves. Because that's what they subjected these children to, and they deserve nothing less. If justice is people getting what they deserve, which is one of the classic definitions of justice, is people getting what they deserve no less of fate. And anything else is abject horror. I hate them all. I hope they all burn in hell. Calls from Chloe and others, along with body cam footage and surveillance footage from the May 24th, 2022 incident shooting at Robb Elementary School, were included in a massive collection of audio and video released by Uvalde city officials after a prolonged city file. Yeah, I bet they don't want that audio and video released so that we don't have to all hear the screams of the children, because that's the kind of thing you can't unhear. That's the kind of thing you can't unhear. I made the decision, an arguably mistake one time, of listening to the audio recording of the Jim Jones incident where everyone drank the Flavor Aid. There was a recording of it. I listened to it one time. Not recommended. The Associated Press and other news organizations brought the lawsuit after officers initially refused to publicly release the information. The massacre, which left 19 students and 2 teachers dead, was one of the worst school shootings in U.S. history. Yeah, You know, the thing about it is it's not really the number of kids who died. You could arguably argue that there were worse incidences. What made it particularly deplorable is that there were hundreds of police officers there, all with their heads, all with their thumbs up their ass, doing fuck all. Didn't we learn from Columbine about the value of going in immediately and, you know, taking care of those situations? And apparently 20 years later, somehow that memo didn't get to people. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They all deserve to burn in hell. The chief of police, Andrea Chera or whatever his fuck his name is, Andiaco or whatever the fuck his name is, he's being charged. But they all deserve to be charged. I don't care if you have to charge them with littering. I don't care if you have to charge the 300 there officers with loitering. Charge them with something, anything. Charge them with loitering. How about that? They were just standing around doing nothing. Charge them with loitering. I don't care. They all should be charged with something, anything. Dereliction of duty, malfeasance of office, goddamn loitering. I don't care. Get creative. They all deserve to be named and they all deserve to be prosecuted. I don't care if it's a goddamn speeding ticket. I'll feel better about getting something out of this rather than nothing. Yeah, they arrested the parents who were trying to run into the thing too. That too. Thank you for reminding me of that detail. I'd forgotten that detail. That's helpful too. Yes, they arrested parents who were actually trying to run into the building trying to save their children. So not only were they not doing anything, they were actively preventing parents who were trying to run in to save their own children. Because the parents, you know, actually care and have a damn. El Rojo Grande gives $20. Oh, that reminds me. My little thing's not on screen right now. Oh, there it is. There he goes. El Rojo Grande says, hey, Kurt, any intention of covering the law? Stratus Inc. versus Bombay lawsuit. It's your area of expertise, one of the huge consequences for 3D printing as technology. Not many people are covering it, so maybe lots of views. Yes, I'm interested in covering this lawsuit. I plan on covering it when a response is filed because it will be more informative. But yes, this is a patent dispute dealing with 3D printing. I'm happy to cover it, but I think it will be more informative for me to cover it when there is a response that's filed. So I assume that will happen at some time in the relatively near future. So you can go from there accordingly. Yeah. Where is this window? Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. There, that looks better. All right, great. I opened up a new donation page, which I'm using now as a centralized donation page, as kofi.com/uncivillaw. So rather than having like all the other places that we used to allow donations, I'm just like opening one because I think it allows everything. It allows PayPal, credit card, Apple Pay, and everything else. So it's like centralized on one place. So I'm giving that a shot right now. So if you want to donate other than through YouTube, you can donate at coffee.com/uncivillaw as specified in the little description below. Thank you very much. Anyways, pairing on. Thank you, Tony P, for the 10 gift memberships. And hypothetically, when you donate, it will make a little sound and should pop up on screen. We'll see. All right, the the delayed law enforcement response to the shooting has been widely condemned. Nearly 400 officers, every single one of them deserves to burn in hell. Waited more than 70 minutes. They deserve to burn in hell for a long time. You know, we can bring back the brazened bull. That'd be good. Now, someone's going to quote to me something about the Eighth Amendment right about now, but I'm beyond caring. I'm beyond caring. I'm in full cruel mode right now. Families of the victims have long sought accountability for the slow police response, as well they should, at the school that's about 80 miles away from San Antonio. Brett Cross, 10-year-old nephew. You know, another good one that as long as we're going to old school death penalty, really old school cruel death penalty. I don't know what the name for it is, but there was the one where they used to, put the victim or the person, the condemned, I guess, they put the condemned in a hollowed out log. And so their arms and legs would come outside the log and their bodies inside the log. And then they would force feed the person. They would force feed the person lots of food before they went in the log. So when they eventually, poop and urinate themselves, the bugs would come and then would eat them while they were alive. There's that. I don't know if it has a name for it, but that sounds pretty promising right about now. Let's go to the log method. The log sounds pretty good right about now. Brett Cross, 10-year-old nephew, Uvalde Garcia, was among those killed. Cross, who is raising the boy as his son, was angry that relatives weren't told the records were being released and it took so long for them to be made public. Yep. I thought if we could get anything we wanted, we'd ask for a time machine to go back and save our children, but we can't. So all they're asking for is justice, accountability, and transparency. I'm asking for the brazen bull in the log. Or at least a pillory. That isn't even cruel and unusual. It wasn't cruel and unusual at the time of the founding, so technically it's not cruel and unusual now. So we could bring that back, the pillory in the stocks. We could put all the 400 officers in the stocks, line them up and down Main Street from sun up till sundown every day, and I'll throw tomatoes at them. That will also make me feel better. I'm down for that. We could go with that plan. That's technically legal. Let's bring that back. Jesse Rizzo, whose 10-year-old niece, Jacqueline Carceses, was killed in the shooting, said the release of the information Saturday reignited festering anger because it shows the waiting of loss reform. Here's a bunch of law enforcement standing in the wall, doing fuck all. Pillory, stockade, yeah, either way is fine. You get the idea. It's all good. Perhaps if they breached either, they would have saved some lives, including my niece. If there is a God in heaven, all these people deserve to be judged for their weak ass bullshit. This is a job they actively signed up for, by the way. This is a job they actively signed up for, to be in the danger. It has been 23 years, I think, since Columbine at the time of this shooting. So, we kind of knew you need to just go get the bad guy. Right? At least in Columbine, you could argue they didn't know any better, because Columbine was kind of the first time that had ever happened. And so the old idea of, okay, let's just, fortify the area, get the SWAT team and, do it that way, that at least made sense. But it's been 23 years, or it was 23 years at the time. So what's your excuse? Not much, man. Not much. The police response included nearly 150 bullshit coward U.S. Border Patrol agents and 91 feckless, pansy-ass bullshit police officials from the state, as well as a whole bunch of feckless, pissy, meandering, fucked up losers from the school and city police. When terrified students and teachers called 911 from inside the classroom, dozens of officers stood in the hallway trying to figure out what to do, mostly with their thumbs up their ass. Here's what you do. You go to where the gunshots are happening and you prevent them and you stop them from happening. That's what you do. That's what you do. Despite parents who had gathered outside the building, pleading with them to go in, and then preventing the parents from going in and saving them as their children died and probably bled slowly on a floor somewhere. Every single one of these police officers deserve to be named. Every single one of them. I want their names. I want their photos. I want their title. We're going to have a video. We're going to honor them. We're going to have a video The officers of Uvalde. It's going to be great. We're going to put up their official photo. We're going to put up their name. We're going to put up their title. It's going to be great. We're going to have stream of it. I want it all. The gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, entered the school at 11:33, firstly opening fire in the hallway, then going into two adjoining fourth grade classrooms. The first responding officers arrived at the school minutes later. I forget how quick it was. It was really fast, too. It might have been like 2 minutes. It's been a while. But like there were officers on scene later within 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I remember it was such a ridiculously short amount of time because it was way faster than a typical priority one call. Right? Even a priority one call is like historically like an 8-minute average. These guys were there in like 2. Not for any good it did, you know? Yeah. At 12:06 p.m., much of the radio traffic from the Uvalde Police Department was still focused on setting up a perimeter around the school and controlling traffic in the area, as well as the logistics of keeping track of those who would safely evacuate the building. They had trouble setting up a command post, one of the officers told the colleagues, because we need the bodies to keep the parents out. They're trying to push in. I hope they all burn in hell. Fuck all of them. At 12:16 p.m., someone from the Texas Department of Public Safety, the state law enforcement agency, called the police to let them know that SWAT was en route from Austin, about 162 miles away. She asked for information the police could give about the shooting. Do you have a command post, or where do you need our officers to go? We're sending SWAT from Austin? It's closer to San Antonio. Doesn't San Antonio have a SWAT team? San Antonio is a pretty big city. And anyways, it doesn't matter because what we learned from Columbine is you don't wait for SWAT. That's what we learned from Columbine. That's what we learned. The police representatives responded that officers know there are several dead students inside the school. Some of the survivors have been evacuated to a building nearby. She doesn't know if a command post had been set up. At 12:50 p.m., a tactical team enters one of the classrooms and fatally shoots Ramos. Was about fucking time. Among other criticisms issued by the U.S. Justice Department report was there was no urgency in establishing a command center, creating confusion among the police about who was in charge. You know? Yeah. I don't want to run the show. But I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be a police officer. So I want them to do their job. Which, you know, from Columbine is you go run towards the danger. That's what we learned after Columbine. Sam says, as a former cop, Uvalde really pissed you off? I would think this is the rough equivalent of when lawyers really fuck up. Although when lawyers really fuck up, they don't tend to fuck up like 400 at a time. So I understand you being pissed off. This is like the equivalent of like when one of the lawyers fucks up. But usually it's like, you know, it's just Girardi or it's just Murdaugh or it's just, you know, insert other lawyer here. Usually it's not 400 lawyers all fucking up at the exact same time. That's usually not the thing. So I understand your irritation. Multiple federal and state investigations have laid bare cascading problems in training, communication, leadership, and technology. I don't know how much technology you need. Also, one of my personal favorite details of the whole thing, from the earlier stuff that we read on this, my personal favorite detail is they got to the door and they started looking for a key. First of all, it's like, do we have a battering ram? Which apparently they didn't have. And they're like, does anyone know where the key is? Can we find the key? You know what they failed to try to do? Open the door. The door was unlocked. The door where the gunman was behind, it wasn't locked. They got to the door, it was closed. It's like, we need a battering ram. We need the school's master key. No, all you needed to do was literally turn the knob. That's all you needed to do, literally, was turn the knob. They didn't even try. That's got to be my personal favorite detail of the whole thing. That's just great. That's just great. Some of the 911 calls released were from terrified instructors. One described a whole lot of gunshots, while others sobbed in place as the dispatcher urged her to stay quiet. Hurry, 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 the first teacher cried before hanging up, probably just before being shot by the gunman who was shot her 20 minutes later because the police are doing fuck all in the parking lot or something, hanging out behind the school doing doobies or some shit. I don't know. Maybe they're in the school bathroom lighting up smokes like it's the 1970s or some bullshit. I don't know what they're doing. Just before arriving at the school, Ramos shot and wounded his grandmother at her home. He then took a pickup from the home and drove to school. Ramos's distraught uncle made several 911 calls begging to be put through so he could get to his nephew to stop the shooting. Everything I tell him, he does. Maybe he could stand down or something and turn himself in. So apparently they weren't even able to connect him to his uncle or something to get his uncle to try to stand him down. Thank you, Joseph, for your kind compliment on the recent video on demand content. We'll talk about that in a bit at the break. Oh my God, please don't do nothing stupid. I think it's shooting kids. But the officer arrived too late, coming just in after the time the shooting had ended, like 82 minutes after it started or some ridiculous shit, which is the length of a decent length movie. There are movies that are shorter than 82 minutes long. There are obviously movies that are longer than 82 minutes long, but hey, that's an hour and 22 minutes, man. That's a pretty decent length movie. Really a rough movie for the kids that were there. I bet they'll never forget that day. Oh, two of the responding officers now face charges. Former Uvalde Chief Police Peter Ondiadero, which I knew, and former school office Adrian Gonzalez had pled not guilty to multiple charges of child abandonment and endangerment. A Texas state trooper in Uvalde who had been suspended has been reinstated to his job. That's some bullshit. Apparently that guy's name is Christopher Kindle. Christopher Kindle of the Texas Rangers. Okay, well, you're a fuck ass, Christopher Kindle, and I hope you burn in hell. Fuck you. In an interview this week with CNN, Ondiadero says he thinks he's been scapegoated as the one to blame for the botched law enforcement response. Okay, you think you've been scapegoated? You think you've been scapegoated? All right, why do we think that would be? Police chief who was at the scene. Why do we think the police chief might be bearing some of the responsibility relating to this? Why would the chief of police be held accountable for his fuckery? I don't know ever why the chief of police, who himself was there at the time as it was happening, basically telling his officers to put their thumbs up their asses. I don't know why he would be scapegoated by this. Some of the families have called for more officers to be charged. Hell yes. And if I had filed federal and state law enforcement against law enforcement, social media, online game companies, and gun manufacturers, well, fuck all the officers. They all deserve to be charged. Fuck all of them. Here are two fuckwits. Here's a chief of police on the left, and here's a fuckwit officer on the right. They're a bunch of fuckwits. I hope they burn in hell. It's a start, but hopefully not the end. And that itself brings us to the end of this decision. All right, well, welcome to the Thunderdome. We're off to a really spicy start today. These officers can all burn in hell, and I hate them all, and I hope they die. I hope they die slowly and painfully, and I hope they see everything they value ripped out from under them before they go. Everything they love and hold dear ripped and destroyed from them slowly and painfully before they die in a very slow and painful way. That would be reminiscent and very apropos to the way the children died and their families have been suffered. So I hope they suffer a comparable fate. If fate is kind, maybe it will happen. Welcome to the Thunderdome. And I appreciate you being here with me, your friends, Uncivil Law. Hope you're having a good day. We're having a good day over here on the Uncivil Law universe. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on the channel, because that's usually what we do. After the first story, before we talk about other stories, we talk about what's going on the channel, have a little catch up. So that's good. First of all, as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we have the new Ko-fi.com/uncivil-law link for all the links, for all the donations. So I no longer am accepting donations through Cash App directly. I'm no longer accepting donations through Venmo directly. I'm no longer accepting donations through PayPal directly. I'm going to funnel everything through Ko-fi.com/uncivil-law. That is mostly for my benefit, so that I don't have it going 8 different places. It's just too much. It's just too much to manage. It's too much to manage. So in lieu of that, we're just going to have one thing. And that one thing is Ko-fi.com/uncivil-law. So if you want to, you can continue donating, obviously, through super chats and gifted memberships. And that's always appreciated. We do appreciate that. But if you donate through Ko-fi.com, then it's much better for me. I only get charged about 3% instead of 30%. So it doesn't cost you anymore. $30 is still $30. But instead of me only getting $20, I would get $27-ish. Because, yeah, close enough. Close enough for government work. So, yeah, so it's a better deal. And you can use Apple Pay, and you can use PayPal, and you can use credit cards. And I think you can use Android Pay and other things, too. So if none of those options work, then I don't know what to tell you, because I'm just not going to continue operating a Cash App for the, occasional straggler donation. So that's the way I'm going to go. So that's what we're doing that, and hope that's good. It should display in chat. Hypothetically, it should display. Well, it won't display on chat. No, it won't display on chat. It might. Actually, I don't know whether it will or not. Yes, I think it will actually display in chat. I think it actually will display in chat. I don't know. No one's ever done it yet. But I think it will display in chat, and it will display on screen. So when someone does it, I guess we'll find out. It should. So we'll see. I think. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Hopefully I set it up correctly. We'll see. All right. So otherwise, talking about the state of the channel, as you can see, as sort of been long talked about, I am beginning my transition from live streaming back to video on demand. So I've been doing live streaming on this channel for I don't know how long. But, this channel has gone through periods where it's been live stream heavy and video on demand heavy. So I don't know if it's been a year or if it's been longer than that, but we're going back to a more video on demand heavy format. And I'm now experimenting with scripted content, which is interesting because this is the most scripted content I've ever done before. In the past, before these past couple videos, see, there's one donation. It made the noise. Yay. So it worked. So yeah, there you go. And did it show up in chat? I don't know. Well, not yet, at least. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Kofi bot says new donation from Sam. There it is. Yeah, see, that worked. Great. Yeah, there it is. So it worked. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, that worked. All right, great. So it showed up in chat and it showed up on screen. It showed up in all the places. Fantastic. All right. So anyways, yeah, other than the last couple, I've probably on this entire channel done less than 10 scripted videos total. So this is interesting, experimenting with scripted videos. And as you can see, I've been trying to experiment with this AI art style. That's been interesting. It's been sort of interesting and kind of worked. The video I did on the disgraced mayor was really good. So in terms of getting a lot of watch time. So I'm definitely going to be looking for more stories about corrupt politicians So corrupt mayors, corrupt governors, corrupt congresspeople, that kind of thing, definitely I think is going to be something that I'm going to try to focus on. So, corrupt police officers getting busted, that kind of thing should be good. So, because that seemed to have done really well, like that video had more than 20,000 views, which was really nice. So that was really nice performing video for my channel. And a couple of the other videos I did recently got like 10,000 views. The one I did on Sarah Boone, I think got 10,000. And the one I did on the submersible, I think got 10,000. So it seems to be going well, and people seem to like it. I've been trying to find an editor. It's been going challenging. I hired something like 4 or 5 different editors to all edit the same video, to experiment with different editors. I think I have one in the Philippines that I kind of like. So I'm going to see whether or not they want a full-time position, and whether or not they can do the throughput necessary for the channel. But if they want to, we might experiment with that and give that a shot. So we'll see. But we'll go from there. And that's kind of what we're doing there. Oh, and also, the Kurt Mueller law firm, PLLC, is up and running and doing its thing and has a logo, which I will share with you if you give me just a second, as I remember how to find my own logo. Give me one moment, please. I was quite pleased with how it turned out. Aha, there it is. So here's the logo for the Kurt Mueller law firm, PLLC. I like that one. I like that one a lot. So it's got the courthouse logo, but instead of the standard pillars, it's got my initials. That's pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool, right? So it's got the courthouse, but instead of the pillars, like just 4 pillars, it's got KM embedded in the logo. The Kurt Mueller law firm, PLLC. I think that's pretty good. I think it's pretty nice. So I like that very much. So the Kurt Mueller law firm, PLLC, is up and running and recognized by the state of Texas as a legal entity. Very exciting. It's a law firm of one. It's a law firm of me, but it's a legal entity. Which I suppose makes me managing partner, which is nice. But more of the point, I have signed an agreement with another law firm to take on joint responsibility of cases relating to certain topics. And I'm going to start telling you more about that in some upcoming videos. So that will be happening in the extremely near future. So we'll tell you more about those topics just as soon as it comes up. But there's some interesting cases dealing with some mass tort and dealing with some discrimination cases that caught my interest. So I have signed an agreement with another law firm for joint responsibility of cases, and I'm going to start taking cases. So exciting. So you can hear more about that in the near future. Okay. I'll tell you which firm when I tell you. I want to make sure to get all the branding done and all the, common things done. But, I'll tell you when I tell you. But that's enough for now. That's enough of tease. All right. Let's see what else. Is there something that won't piss me off completely? Let's do the NASCAR story. NASCAR story is just fun. Yeah, firm of one is one of the more productive office meetings. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, well, I am managing partner of my own firm, so I got that going for me. The firm of one. It's nice, and exciting. Yeah. All right, in driving my car drunk, but only while turning left news, former NASCAR championship winner Kurt Busch has been arrested and charged with a DWI. Exciting. Former NASCAR driver and champion Kurt Busch was arrested while driving while impaired in North Carolina on Tuesday night, according to North Carolina State Highway Patrol. They state that around 11:40 p.m. they were called to assist the Iredell County Sheriff's Office with a traffic stop at the intersection Brawley School Road and Chuckwood Road. Chuckwood. Officials say that Busch was stopped for speeding, going 63 and a 45, reckless driving, and was suspected of driving while impaired. A trooper arrived at the scene and performed a roadside field sobriety test, which determined the driver to be impaired by alcohol. Friendly reminder, no state requires you to do the field sobriety tests for alcohol. So if they want you to do the walk the straight line thing and all that bullshit, you can say no. And my recommendation is that you do. Because there's no point to it because, well, you'll fail anyway. And some states do require roadside breathalyzer, but not many. Alaska's one of them. I don't know whether North Carolina is one of them, but there's only like 8 states or so that require roadside breathalyzer. The rest of course, do require breathalyzer, but they have to be done at the station or other draw. So sometimes it's a blood draw, but same idea. But in any case, I wouldn't do the hokey pokey thing on the side of the road. That's a bad guy deal. Busch was placed under arrest and transported to the county jail, where he submitted to the breath test, which would be required, which registered a 0.17 breath alcohol. That's impressive, man. That's good work. Double the limit. Double the limit. So, I mean, unclear whether or not he was drinking Busch, his namesake, or not. But either way, it seemed to have worked out well for him. So we'll see. He was charged by state police while driving while impaired. Additional charges of speeding and reckless driving have been handled by the sheriff's office. His initial court date is set for September the 19th. He was a 2004 NASCAR Cup championship and winner of the 2017 Daytona 500. He last competed in 2022. Probably not going to compete anytime in the near future. Exciting. All right, let's see what else we got today. All right. And I have a good body and I know how to use it news. Some Olympians apparently are turning to OnlyFans. I mean, if you're going to subscribe to someone on OnlyFans, I mean, why not subscribe to literally the very best? I mean, these are literally the most athletic people in the world. They know, so why not subscribe to the very, very best? I mean, there's something very Greek about it in the whole thing. It feels very somehow apropos. It feels like something the Greeks would have approved of when they invented the Olympics. Seems like their kind of thing. Dire financial straits are apparently leading droves of Olympic athletes to sell their images of their bodies to subscribers on OnlyFans. Neat. As they struggle to make ends meet, a spotlight is being cast on the Olympics funding system that watchdogs groups condemn as broken, claiming most athletes can barely pay their rent. The Olympics, the world's biggest sporting stage, brings in billions of dollars in TV rights, tickets, sales, and sponsorships, but most athletes must fend for themselves financially. The IOC did not express concern about the situation. Nice. When asked about the situation, IOC spokesperson said, "I would assume that athletes, like all citizens, are allowed to do what they can." Nice. Unclear whether or not pornography will itself become an Olympic sport. That would be interesting. let's go all the way on this one, right? We can have pornography, the Olympics of pornography. Whoever does the best performance gets a gold medal. New world record for fastest to make the audience come. Watching his sponsorships dry up and facing mounting costs, Jack Laffer was among the pantheon of Olympic athletes using the off-controversial platform to get into the games to simply survive. After medaling at the Tokyo Olympics in 2011, Laffer, who scored a bronze in Paris last week for the UK, said he was waiting for funding that never materialized. His account, costing $10 a month, says he posts safe for work content in Speedos, briefs, and boxers. A recent post from the Olympics got more than 1,400 likes. Nice. For me, it's been an absolute lifeline, he said, before he was whisked away mid-interview by a British team official underscoring the sensitivity. Holy shit. Yeah. I also bought a logo plate for the back of my microphone that's coming tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I won't have to necessarily have the graphic on screen anymore. And no matter where the thing is, I'll just have my logo on it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's coming in the mail tomorrow. $25, worth it. Laffer and other current and former Olympians, rower Robbie Manson, pole vaulter Ashley Newman, driver Timo Barthel, Diego Barlilas Izeles, and Matthew Mickham, the first openly gay Olympic medalist, found a measure of financial stability in OnlyFans and other fundings that they failed to provide. That's interesting. Unable to secure traditional sponsorships, Mitchum began posting photos at OnlyFans, including semi-frontal nudes, earning triple the amount that they received as an athlete. Nice. That body is amazingly commodity that people that want to work to see. It's a privilege to see a body that has 6 hours of work every day. 6 days a week put into it to make it like Adonis does. Mitchum, who describes himself as sex worker light. Nice. Manson, meanwhile, credited OnlyFans with boosting his athletic performance, saying his content includes thirst traps, but nothing for pornographic. My content is nude or implied nude. I keep it artistic. I have fun with it and try not to take myself too seriously. That's something I've also tried to maintain in my approach to rowing. This approach has helped me achieve the best personal result at the Olympics. My quest for a new gym, incidentally, which is neither here nor there, continues, incidentally. I've been to a commercial gym the last couple times. There was one I was really excited about, but I felt like they were lying to me. I don't know. It struck me as really bad. Okay, I didn't really like it, and I called them out on it. And yeah. We'll finish that story at the end of this story, though, so I don't put myself off the track too much. While some athletes say they don't see what they're doing as sex work, German driver Bartel put it frankly, in sport you wear nothing but a Speedo, so you're close to being naked. Fair. Global Athlete, an organization created by athletes to address the power imbalance in sports, decried the dire state of the Olympic funding. The entire funding model for the Olympic sport is broken. The IOC now generates over $1.7 billion a year, and they refuse to pay athletes to attend the Olympics. He criticized the IOC for forcing athletes to sign away their image rights. The majority of athletes can barely pay their rent, yet IOC, National Olympic Committee, and national federations that oversee the sports have employees making over 6 figures. They're all making monies off the back of athletes. In this way, it's akin to modern day slavery. Well, that's not really a great analogy. I mean, it is voluntary. So, I mean, you know, it's not exactly slavery. You can quit. See, that's the principal thing with slavery is you can't quit. That's one of the defining qualities of slavery. Just saying. The AP has spoken to multiple athletes who had to confirm they paid for their own way to the Olympics. While stars like Michael Phelps and Simone Biles can make millions, most athletes struggle to cover the costs of competing on the global stage. That can include coaching, physical therapy, and equipment at the cost of thousands of dollars a month, as well as basic living expenses. Some delegations fund training, while other athletes cover medical bill and daily expenses. In other delegations, athletes pay for themselves. Olympic athletes are generally just 1 or 2 tickets for friends and family, obligating them to pay for additional tickets so their loved ones can attend the events. The IOC tries to convince these athletes their lives will change after becoming an Olympian. There's nothing further from the truth. The fact is the majority of athletes are left in debt, face depression, and are lost once finishing sports. Fair. Pole vaulter Ashley Newman has used money she earned from OnlyFans to buy property and build up her savings. I never loved how amateur athletes can never make a lot of money, she said. This is where my entrepreneurial skills come in. Adams, an IOC spokesman, said at a press conference Thursday he wasn't aware of the trend and dismissed concern. The AP requested details from the IOC on how it helps athletes financially, and the IOC referred to the AP a swath of links with scant detail without elaborating or providing further comment. A statement from the IOC said the IOC distributes 90% of its revenue to the development of sport and athletes, but doesn't go into detail. OnlyFans, for its part, has expressed solidarity for the athletes. OnlyFans is helping them to support training and living costs and providing basic success for skills on and off the field. It highlights other exceptionally talented OnlyFans athlete creators who were unable to compete in Paris this year, including British driver Matthew Dixon, Daniel Goodfellow, and Maddie Lee, along with British speed skater Elsie Christie and Spanish fencer Yulin Pereira. Athletes on OnlyFans say they've been forced to grapple with societal stigma. Some say that they've told the AP have been asked if they are now porn stars, and one driver's profile even clarified, "I'm a Team GP driver, not a porn star." That's funny. Some people are so judgmental about sex work. Some people it's a shame or even shameful, Mitchum said. But what I do is a very light version of sex work, like low-fat version of mayonnaise, selling the sizzle rather than the steak. That one pole vaulter, if that one pole vaulter you're thinking of, the famous pole vaulter with that famous image from many years ago, she really let herself go real hard after that image got out. It's actually quite a sad story. She really like had major body image problems and let herself go and basically turned into a fat slob. It's a really depressing story. It's a problem. If you're thinking of the one I'm thinking of from a couple years back. Mexican driver Diego Barcelos, however, said that the experience left them feeling dejected. Baleles Izales said they joined OnlyFans in 2023 to get to the Olympics and support his family. After failing to qualify for Paris, he planned to close his account. I firmly believe no athlete does this because they like it. It's always because they need to. Without OnlyFans, athletes are actually having to provide a product or service, something of value for the money they're receiving. He's making athletes entrepreneurs. Nice. Speaking about my own quest to find a new gym for me, I'll tell you some of the stories. Story of my quest. So, just for frame of reference, Planet Fitness upped its prices this summer from $10 to $15 a month. I make this point to illustrate the story. Okay. So there's this one gym that I was looking at. It's $15 a month, same price as Planet Fitness, but it's like a real gym. And they have barbells and free weights and all the rest of it, and you can actually like lift and shit. So that's nice. And they have a sauna, which is nice, although not necessarily that important in Houston, but I digress. So that's cool. And then there was another gym that caught my attention that was near my house. And they're like, oh, we're only $10 a month, $5 every 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, that's even better. And they had a promotion right now, right? So it's like, no, normally it's like $120 enrollment fee, but we'll do it for $60. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, like, because the $15 a month gym wants an annual fee of like $50 with no enrollment. So they want no enrollment. They want a 12-month contract, and they want $15 a month, and they want $60 annual fee on top. Gym number 2, I was looking at, it's like, okay, we want $60 enrollment, and we want $5 a month, all right? Or $10 a month, $5 every 2 weeks. But their facilities are arguably nicer and have more things that you could use. And I'm like, oh, that might be a better deal. That might be a better deal for me. So I went on their website, and I went through like their payment portal, and I was going to sign up. And I got to the part where it's like going to charge your credit card, and I noticed there's a line item on there that I wasn't expecting, a line item for the annual fee, which they didn't call an annual fee. They called it something else. They called it like an annual maintenance bullshit, right? They use this bullshit like terminology rather than annual fee. And I was put off by this, because gym number 1 says right on their page where it lists their prices, right? It says very clearly, right? Gym number 1 says very clearly, we charge a $40 enrollment fee, we charge $15 a month, and we charge an annual fee of $60. It's right there. So like, no muss, no fuss, right? It just gives you all the items. It tells you right on the pricing page. Gym number 2, where it was $5 every 2 months, just says, oh, we have an enrollment fee and we have this $5 every 2 weeks. It didn't say anything about the annual fee on the pricing page, right? It's only when you actually get to sign up, and you're about to hit submit, and you look at the charges, which are listed, that they throw in this extra charge. And so I contacted the gym, because the gym's like, well, we have a no BS policy. It's like our pricing is no BS. I'm like, well, I want the pricing that's on your pricing page, because it wasn't disclosed in your pricing page. It's like, well, we disclosed it before we charge you, and we don't require any contract. So no BS. I'm like, well, I just say, well, it's deceptive. I think it's deceptive. I think it's a bait and switch. Because like, well, we're going to charge you one thing, and then you actually get through, and it's like, oh no, the deal's changed. I think that's a bait and switch. I think it's illegal. So I told them I want nothing to do with them. So I'm a little bit irritated. Yeah. It's a hidden fee. It's like, oh, we have no BS, no BS, no commitments, no BS. I'm like, well, sounds like BS to me, because you're telling me about a price that isn't there. So, So I think we're going back to gym 1. Unless I can find another gym that's as cheap. Also, gym 2, you weren't supposed to use their sauna or their hot tub unless you paid extra for it. Now, they had no way to enforce that, because you could get into the pool area without, a separate membership card or something, but you weren't supposed to. Whereas gym 1 does include the sauna in the price. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. And some insurance companies do pay for healthcare or pay for gyms. Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think, is infamous for this. But my insurance doesn't. But when I was Blue Cross Blue Shield in my former employment life, they would pay for my gym membership. Well, it wasn't quite paid for. You would pay for a plan that would open you up to any number of gyms. So you'd pay Blue Cross like $15 a month, I think it was. And for $15 a month, you could go to like any gym in their network, but any gym included like every Planet Fitness, like every 24-hour fitness, every like, included like every location of like multiple big name gyms, and you could go to any of them for free. Well, for $15 you pay Blue Cross, but I digress. So it was often like a lot cheaper than the gym membership at a lot of locations. So you might want to check with your health plan. Some of them will pay for a gym for free. All right. I might be doing a little bit of evil news. A judge has told Google to prepare for a shakeup of the Android App Store as punishment for running a monopoly. So the Android App Store may no longer be the only app store. In some cases, we will see. A federal judge on Wednesday indicated that he will order major changes in Google Android app store to punish the company for engineering a system that a jury declared to be an illegal monopoly that hurt millions of consumers and app developers. Over the course of a 3-hour hearing in San Francisco, the U.S. District Judge made it clear that the forthcoming shakeup he's contemplating will probably include a mandate requiring Google Play Store for Android phones offer consumers a choice to download an alternative app store. That would definitely get Google's attention, I would imagine. Yeah. Donato has been weighing how to punish Google since last December, when the jury declared the Play Store a monopoly following a 4-week trial. The verdict centered on Google's near exclusive control over distribution of apps designed for Android phones and the billing system for digital commerce occurring within them, a system that generates billions of dollars in ad revenue for the company. In protesting the judge's potential requirements, Google has raised the specter of consumer devices being infected by malicious software downloaded from third-party stores, triggering security chaos. But Donato repeatedly hammered on the need for a major overhaul of the Play Store. Even if it caused Google headaches and huge bills, the company's estimate could run as high as $600 million, which, for Google is still pennies. Oh my God, we might have to spend $1 billion. Oh no. We're going to tear $1 billion. That's going to happen, said the judge. When you have a mountain built out of bad conduct, you're going to have to move the mountain. Fair. Donato says he's hoping to issue the order outlining the framework for the changes to the Play Store within a few weeks, possibly before Labor Day. Google tactics in the penalty phase case may foreshadow strategy in a similar round of so-called remedy hearings that will be held in even a bigger antitrust case that resulted in the judge branding the dominant search engine as an illegal monopoly too. So this is in a prior antitrust lawsuit. So this one dealt with their app store. This one, then there's also one dealing with their search engine. And then there's another one coming along that's in pretty far along in development dealing with their ads, Google Ads in particular, and their Google Ad tie-in with YouTube, for example. So Google's antitrust problems are developing in a lot of different directions all at the same time. It's not necessarily going great for Google right now. In the Play Store case, the judge appears to be grappling with how much time they should give Google to make changes to the system and how long the restraints he imposed should remain in effect. Google wants 12 to 16 months to make the changes to ensure a smooth transition and avoid glitches that could affect the performance. Epic Games contends Google could do everything in about 3 months at the cost of $1 million. That doesn't sound realistic. I know that number does not sound realistic. I appreciate Epic Games enthusiasm here, but I that number does not sound realistic. Apple has its own problems too, man. Apple has its problems too, man. Apple is being sued for antitrust by a whole bunch of people too. So, especially with its like text messages is the one that's probably going to be decided first. So of the many ones that are being pursued against Apple, the one dealing with its iMessage service is probably the first domino that's most likely to fall. But they're facing their own problems too. So Apple's having some issues along the same line. It's incidentally why Apple Messages is because in their new. Because they announced they were going to enrich content messages, which would allow for better interoperability of their messaging service. So they're kind of heading in that direction anyway, because they can see it coming. So they're trying to stave it off a little bit. So they're heading in that direction. I don't think they've rolled that out yet. I don't know if that's supposed to be rolled out in the next version of iOS or not, but they're updating their messaging service to a rich content messaging. I think it's called RCS, that is more compatible with Android phones. I think it's supposed to come out in the next version of iOS, but I could be wrong about the timing. Epic Games wants whatever the judge's ordered to remain for 6 years, but the judge says he thinks the proposal is too lengthy. He worried aloud if a 5-year term might be appropriate. Google wants the order to expire after 1 to 2 years. The judge assured Google he isn't going to attempt to micromanage the business ever, even as he braced for a shakeup. The whole point is to grow a garden of competitive app stores. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. We'll see. Uncivil wants to get swole. All right. Okay. In Soviet Russia, money donates you news. A U.S.-Russian dual national has been charged for 12 years on treason charges for donating $51 to Ukraine. That dual citizenship is not really paying off right now. U.S.-Russian dual national citizen Keshna Kafvina was convicted Thursday in treason in court and sentenced to 12 years in prison, charging from donating $51 to a charity for Ukraine. Kavana, identified by Russian authorities by her maiden name of Keshna Karlina, was arrested in the Ural mountain city of Yekaterinburg in Friday and pled guilty at a closed trial last week. Kavana, 33-year-old former ballet dancer, reportedly obtained U.S. citizenship after marrying an American and moving to Los Angeles. She had returned to Russia to visit her family. That's a bad call. Russian Federal Security Service said she proactively collected money in the interest of one of the Ukrainian organizations, who subsequently used it to purchase tactical medical supplies, equipment, weapons, and ammunition for the Ukrainian armed forces. The rights group, the First Department, said the charges stem from a $51 donation. Her attorney says they plan to appeal the verdict. Good luck. She admitted to guilt in part of transferring the funds, but didn't admit to transferring the funds the organization were the most likely received. She did not assume the funds would be transferred to be used for anti-Russian actions. She's fucked. Since sending troops into Ukraine, Russia has sharply cracked down on dissent and passed laws to criminalize criticism of the operation and remarks considered to discredit the Russian military. Concern has risen since Russia is targeting U.S. nationals for arrest, which, don't go to Russia would be a pretty good clue right about now. Russia may not necessarily be the best place to visit. On August the 1st, Russia and the West held the largest prisoner exchange since the end of the Cold War, including the swap was a Wall Street Journal reporter and American corporate security executive, both of whom had been convicted on espionage charges that they vehemently denied. And Russia-U.S. dual national Alo Kerzhmanov, a Radio Liberty, Radio Free European journalist, sentenced to 6.5 years for spreading false information, which is coming to us if we don't stop it, by the way, too. The UK has been arresting people for the wrong thing they say online. The damn UK. The only thing that's saving us anymore is the First Amendment, I swear to God. And that's the end of that story. Yeah. Trying to find a angle for my microphone I like. You know what I found out? The secret though? I found such an interesting thing. This foam, the one that comes with it, has a little like ring that clasps in it to hold it in place. You know, because it's made for it. So it's got. I don't think it's magnetic. It might be magnetic, but it's got a little clasp collar to hold it in place. And this one's aftermarket, so it didn't. So I just fixed it with a rubber band. I just fixed it with a rubber band, but putting a rubber band on the inside of there, so it makes it just a little bit larger and increases the friction, and that way it doesn't fall off. Rubber band solved the problem. Neat, huh? Now I can adjust it at any angle I want and the thing won't fall off. All right, let's see what else we got. We got a lot of meth. Meth apparently is on the menu, boys. Okay. And people still haven't learned about AI news. A reporter has been caught using artificial intelligence to generate fake quotes and stories. Dude, man, just watch it on that kind of thing, man. Just watch the citations, you know. Rubber bands are great, but you prefer Bass brands? Nice. Quotes from the Wyoming governor and local prosecutor were the first things that seemed slightly off to Powell Tribune reporter C.J. Baker. Then it was some phrases in the story that struck him as nearly robotic. The dead giveaway, though, was that the reporter from a competing news outlet was using generative artificial intelligence to help him write stories. Came in a June 26 article about comedian Larry the Cable Guy being chosen as Grand Marshal of a local parade. It concluded with an explanation of the inverted pyramid, the basic approach to writing a breaking news story. What? Oh, dude, really? I gotta see this. The 2024 Cody Stampede Parade promises to be an unforgettable celebration of the American independence, led by one of the country's most beloved figures. Larry the Cable Guy is one of the country's most beloved figures? This structure ensures that the most critical information is presented first, making it easier for readers to grasp the main point. Oh, good. I gotta Google this phrase. Dude, man, that is just funny as shit. Hold on. I wondered if it was just the one sentence. That's just too funny. After doing some digging, Baker, who had been a reporter for more than 15 years, met with Aaron Pelzer, a 40-year-old who was new to journalism and who Baker said admitted they used AI in his stories before he resigned from the Enterprise. The publisher and editor at Enterprise, who had co-founded by 1889 by Buffalo Bill Cody, really? Has since apologized and vowed to take steps that would never happen again. In an editorial published Monday, Enterprise editor Chris Bacon said he failed to catch the AI copy and false quotes and apologized that AI was allowed to put in words that were never spoken. Journalists have derailed their careers by making up quotes or facts and stories long before AI came about, but the latest scandal illustrates the potential pitfalls and dangers that AI poses to many industries, including journalism, as chatbots can spit out spurious or somewhat plausible articles with only a few prompts. Nice. AI has found a role in journalism, including the automation of certain tasks. Some newsrooms, including the Associated Press, use AI to free up reporters for more impactful work, but most of the AP staff are now allowed to use generative AI to create published content. The AP has been using technology to assist articles for about financial earnings since 2014 and more recently for some sports. It's also been experimenting with AI to translate some stories from English to Spanish. At the end of each story is a note explaining technology's role in production. Being upfront about AI has proven important. Sports Illustrated was criticized last year for publishing AI-generated online product reviews that were presented as having been written by reporters who didn't exist. That was cute when what happened to Sports Illustrated. In the Powell Tribune story breaking about Pelsar's use of AI, Baker wrote that he had an uncomfortable but cordial meeting with Pelsker and Bacon. During the meeting, Pelsker said, obviously, I never intended to try to misquote anybody, and promised to correct them and issue statements. After the meeting, Enterprise discovered about 7 stories that included an AI-generated quote from 6 people. They're very believable quotes, Bacon said, knowing the people who spoke to her during the interview said the quote sounded like something they'd say, but had never actually talked to him. Baker reported that 7 people had told him that they'd been quoted in stories but hadn't spoke to him. Palscore did not respond to AP messages left at the number listed. That is pretty funny. Palscore's story about a shooting in Yellowstone National Park included the sentence, "This incident serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of human behavior, even in the most serene settings." Baker said the line sounded like the summary of stories that certain chatbots seem to generate, and that attacks on some kind of life lesson at the end. Another story about poaching included quotes from a wildlife official and prosecutor that sounded like they came from a news release. However, there was a news release and the agency involved didn't know where the quotes had come from. 2 of the question stories include fake quotes about Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon that staff only learned about when Baker called them. One quote was entirely fabricated, another was only partially fabricated. That's pretty funny. Megan Barton, the Cody Enterprise publisher, wrote an editorial calling AI the new advanced form of plagiarism. Although, strictly speaking, it's not plagiarism, but... Is it plagiarism? I don't know whether it technically qualifies as plagiarism or not. That's a good question. The new advanced form of plagiarism, and in the field of media and writing, plagiarism is something every media outlet has to be correct about at some point or another. That's pretty funny shit. That's the good stuff. Does that qualify as plagiarism? I don't know if it qualifies as plagiarism. We need a term for it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got. I just want to chat with you guys for a second. Let's just chill and chat. Let's just chill and chat for a second. Maybe we'll do some more stories in a second. I need a break. Uncivil needs a break. How you guys doing? How you guys feeling? What's on your mind? My diet has not been as successful as I'd like in losing weight. I felt like I've been doing really, really good, but I weighed myself recently and basically haven't lost any weight, so I'm very frustrated by that. That's annoying. I just got blood work done again recently. I need to talk to my doctor about that. Checking to make sure that all my blood work is still good. How much weight would I like to lose? Ideally, 150 pounds would be nice. You're loving life? That's good. Thank you, Sarah. Slow study. That's nice. That seems too drastic. It's not. Even 150 pounds would still make me overweight. I'm just that overweight. In order to, I think that would still, yeah. Yeah, that's probably still make me overweight by standard definition. You won sole custody of your son? That's awesome. Looking forward to the NASCAR DUI story. We did the NASCAR DUI story. It was like the second story we did. Sorry if you missed it, but you can roll back. Yes, I'm 6 foot. Yes, I'm 6 foot. That's correct. Clothes fitting better? Not really. No. £8 since the surgery? That's nice. Classes? They're fine. It's not a weight problem? I think it is a weight problem, and I'd appreciate it if you not contradict me like that. I'm tired. Finished a massive damage inventory for FEMA. Cool. Finding an editor that I can afford has been a real challenge. I was looking on like Fiverr and Upwork, but those guys wanted like $50, like basically minimum a video. I can't afford that. Some of the guys in the Philippines are cheaper though, so we'll see if we can get that to work. I sleep plenty. I sleep at least 8 hours a day. I sleep plenty. Editors are expensive but worth it. The problem is, like, you have to pay them with money that exists. The pre-recorded videos have been fire. I've been editing them myself, so far so good, but I've been doing that myself. Oh, I do take, what's it called? I take something to help me sleep. It's called, I don't know, it's 50 milligrams, which isn't very much. I think a typical dosage is more like 100 or 300 milligrams, but I only take 50. It's called, trazodone, thank you. Yeah, trazodone was the one I was looking for, yeah. Trazodone. So I usually take 50 of that a day. How the one where you're working on the AI generated images work out number wise? I don't know what you mean. You mean how the videos do? Some have been doing fairly well. Some of them are performing pretty well, and people seem to like the format. People seem to like the formats. People seem to like the presentation of it. It's been interesting trying to write them and edit them, put it all together. The AI art has been interesting, trying to create AI art that's kind of interesting. DALL-E is what I'm using right now because I get it basically for free built into ChatGPT because it will generate 16.9 resolution images. So mainly using for sleep. Yeah. 50 milligrams is a small dog dose. Yeah, I know. It's not very much. 50 milligrams is a small dose. Yeah. It's a small dose, but it's what I take, and it seems to work, and so why take more, right? It works. It's effective. Why do more? He lost the same 5 pounds 8 times. I've been going to the gym 3 days a week for almost a year and lost the same 5 pounds 8 times. That is incredibly depressing and discouraging. You go to the gym 3 days a week for 8 years and don't lose anything? God, what are we doing? I officially found my editor, have I? Been finding an editor has been challenging. There's a guy in the Philippines I was trying to interview, but some of these guys are not getting very responsive. The real problem is I can't afford very much, because the channel is not bringing the kind of revenue that I need to, so I can't really afford huge expense editor. So that's the real problem. You can see it in my eyes. I don't know what the fuck that means. You're trying? You guys are doing great, Kestrel. You guys are great and doing great. You guys are fine. And the best thing on YouTube? That's very, very kind of you, Kestrel. Thank you. What's the biggest thing I've learned in improv? Well, over the years, I've been doing improv in various classes. I mean, you learn a lot about games. So, if you've ever watched Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whose Line Is It Anyway is a bunch of little games, like Scenes from a Hat, or Showdown, or Hoedown, or stuff like that, right? So those are all games that they do. So they have their games. So I've learned a lot of those kinds of games. Slow Motion Olympics is one. Riding in a car. Lateral thinking is interesting in improv. The British version? I've never seen the British version. As long as you're not practicing the Michael Scott method of improv. One of our people actually did that in our last improv class. They did a scene and someone actually pulled out a gun and shot people. I was like, holy shit, you can't do that. It's like, you can't shoot people. Oh, Lord. Let's do a couple fun stories and then wrap it up. Let's do a couple stories more and wrap it up. Let me find my hat. Hold on. All right. All right, let's do a couple more stories. Now I've got a little bit of energy. All right. Let's do Matthew Perry. All right, straight from the Justice Department. Straight from the Justice Department. 5 defendants, including 2 doctors, have been charged in connection with Matthew Perry's drug overdose last year. So someone somewhere has been taking this very seriously. A licensed physician and alleged San Fernandino Valley drug dealer were arrested in connection with the death of Matthew Perry, who suffered the fatal ketamine overdose in October 2023. In total, 5 defendants, including 2 doctors, have been charged in this matter. Defendants arrested are charged in 18 counts with distributing ketamine. Apparently charged are Javin Sanga, the ketamine queen of North Hollywood, and Dr. Salvador Plasencia, Dr. P. Sanga and Placina, or Placinia are charged with 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine. Senga also charged with 1 count of maintaining a drug-involved premise, 1 count of possession with intent to distribute meth, 1 count of possession with intent to distribute ketamine, and 5 counts of distribution of ketamine. That sucks. Plasencia. The superseding indictment alleges that Sanga's distribution of ketamine caused Perry's death. Placinia is charged with 7 counts of distribution of ketamine and 2 counts of altering or falsifying documents or records relating to a federal investigation. Well, that's fun. Sanga and Placinia are expected to be arraigned at the United States District Court in Los Angeles. Defendants cared more about profiting off of Perry than caring for his well-being. Drug dealers saying selling dangerous substances are gambling with other people's lives. This case, along with many other prosecutions of drug dealers who caused deaths, send a clear message that we will hold drug dealers accountable for the deaths they cause. Bringing these individuals to justice for their role in the untimely death of Perry required coordination and hard work by a number of people, and I want to thank the LAPD detectives and our federal partners for their patience, said the LAPD chief. As boots on the ground in our community on a daily basis, our officers witness firsthand the harm these narcotics can cause, so I'm pleased the efforts have led to these individuals being arrested. We allege that each of the defendants played a key role in his death by falsely prescribing, selling, or injecting the ketamine that caused his death. Matthew Perry's journey began with an unscrupulous doctor who abused their position because they saw him as a payday, to street dealers who gave him ketamine in unmarked vials. 3 other defendants are Eric Fleming, 54, who pled guilty on August 8th to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine and 1 count of distribution of ketamine resulting in death. So they got 1 guilty plea already. Kenneth Iswarma, 59, who conspired with Sanga, Fleming, and Placinia to illegally obtain ketamine and distribute to Perry. pled guilty on August 7th to one count of conspiracy causing death, admitting to repeatedly injecting Perry with ketamine without training, including performing multiple injections on Perry the day he died. Dr. Mark Chavez, 54, a physician who agreed to plead guilty to one count of conspiracy to distribute, he admitted in a plea agreement to selling ketamine to Placinia, including ketamine that he diverted from his former clinic. Chavez also obtained additional ketamine to transfer by making false representations to wholesale distributors and by submitting fraudulent prescriptions. Nice. Placencia. According to a superseding indictment, in late December 2023, Placencia learned that Perry, a successful actor with a history of addiction, was interested in obtaining ketamine. After learning about Perry's interest in ketamine, Placencia contacted Chavez, who had previously operated a ketamine clinic, to obtain the ketamine. In text messages, Placencia discussed how much to charge Perry for the ketamine, saying, "I wonder how much the moron will pay. Let's find out." Nice. During September and October 2023, Placencia distributed ketamine to Perry and Iwamasa outside the usual course of professional practice and without a legitimate medical purpose on at least 7 occasions. He did so by teaching Iwasama how to inject Perry with ketamine, selling ketamine to Iwasama to inject into Perry, leaving vials of ketamine with Iwasama for self-administration, personally injecting ketamine in Perry without proper safety equipment, including once inside a car parked inside a Long Beach parking lot, and failing to properly monitor Perry after Placencia injected Perry with the drug. Placencia knew that Iwamasa had never had medical training and knew little, if anything, about administering the drugs. Now that would do it. That's nice. The superseding indictment also alleges that Placencia conspired with Chavez about inventory price and availability of ketamine to sell. Chavez in turn sold Placencia orally administered ketamine lozenges that he obtained after writing a fraudulent prescription into a patient's name without their knowledge or consent, and lied to wholesale ketamine distributors to buy additional liquid vials of ketamine. That'll do it too. That's violations of the Controlled Substances Act. That's a lot of problems, man. The fake names, the fake paperwork, the fraud, the lying. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Beginning October 2023, Iwasama also began obtaining ketamine for Perry from Fleming and Sanga. After discussing the prices with Iwasama, Fleming coordinated the drug sales with Sanga and brought cash from Iwasama to Sanga's stash house in North Hollywood to buy vials of ketamine. On October 24, 2023, while waiting for Sanga's ketamine to arrive, Fleming advised Iwasama that ketamine was on our way to our girl, referring to Sanga. Yikes. Sanga had distributed ketamine and other illegal drugs from her stash house since at least 2019. Further yikes. Sanga was aware of the dangers in ketamine. In August 2019, Sanga sold ketamine to victim Cody McLaury in the hours before his overdose death. After a family member of McLaury sent Sanga a text message saying the ketamine had killed McLaury, Sanga conducted a Google search. House long to die in cold? Sanga conducted a Google search for, can ketamine be listed as a cause of death? The superseding indictment alleges that Sanga nonetheless continued to sell ketamine from her stash house. Using the Placencia provided instructions and syringes, Iwasama injected Perry with the ketamine that was sold to him by Fleming and Sanga, including on October 28, 2023, when Perry died at his home after receiving multiple ketamine injections. Placencia sold the ketamine to Iwasama despite being informed at least 1 week earlier that Perry's ketamine addiction was spiraling out of control. After Perry's death was reported in the news, Sanga texted Fleming to delete all of our messages. Woof. Woof. After Perry's death, federal agents and detectives with Los Angeles Police Department executed search warrants at Sanga's residence where they found evidence of drug trafficking, including 79 vials of ketamine. Yeah, that would get my attention. 79 vials would definitely get my attention. 1.4 kilograms of orange pills, Holy shit. Containing methamphetamine, psilocybin mushrooms, cocaine, and prescription drugs. Do those pills contain all those things, or are those different pills? 1.43 pounds? Damn. He's not a microdosing kind of guy, huh? He doesn't do microdosing. I mean, damn, he does macrodosing. Shit. In February and March of 2024, in response to a legal request from production of documents in connection with federal investigations, Plascencia provided altered and falsified medical records purporting to show that he had a legitimate treatment plan in place for Perry. Oh, okay. So after there was a request for documents, he faked some documents. Oh, that's nice. The U.S. Postal Inspectors, nice, get involved because of things being sent through the mail. If convicted of all the charges, Sanga would face a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years and statutory maximum of life. Plascencia would face up to 10 years for each count and up to 20 years for each record falsification count. Nice. Iwansama and Fleming will face 15 to 25 years respectively when they're sentenced in their federal cases. Yikes. Chavez has been charged in an information pursuant to plea when will face up to 10 years. Things are not going well for these people, man. Things are not going well. A lot of people going to jail, man. Postal Service continues to be the most underrated police agency. For my money, the postal inspectors continue to be the most underrated because their jurisdiction is the mail, and the mail goes everywhere. So they're awesome. Wow. Yeah. All right, in Texas State Fair news. The Attorney General of Texas has threatened to sue Dallas over a gun ban at the state fair. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Thursday threatened to take legal action against the city of Dallas if the State Fair of Texas, a nonprofit that holds the event, does not reverse its policy prohibiting open and concealed carry. Paxton argued that because the state fair is held at a fair park owned by Dallas but leased by the nonprofit, the event is still subject to laws prohibiting state governments in Texas from blocking licensed gun owners from accessing government property. As you may know, the State Fair of Texas has announced that persons with license to carry cannot bring firearms to the fair, Paxton wrote in a letter to the Dallas interim city manager. Our office views this statement by the State Fair of Texas as an implication the city of Dallas is prohibiting a license holder from entering or remaining on the premises or other place owned or leased by the city of Dallas in violation of law. On Thursday, Paxton said the city has 15 days to reverse its fair policy, or its office will sue for injunctive relief and seek civil penalties between $1,000 and $15 for each day the policy is in place. The fair runs from September 27th to October the 20th. A spokesperson for the city said in the statement, "We're reviewing the letter and will respond accordingly." Because Carissa Condalalas, a State's Fair spokesman, said the organization is aware of the letter and said we're ready to cooperate with the city of Dallas as needed. The organization made clear, however, that's independent from the city government, and saying it appears from the letter seeking clarification regarding the city's relationship with the State Fair of Texas. The State Fair of Texas is and always has been a private entity. As a private, not-for-profit corporation, the State Fair of Texas leases property from the city of Dallas for the event. The State Fair is not a government entity, nor is it controlled by a government entity. As such, our volunteer board of directors, representing a mix of viewpoints from throughout the community, has made a decision regarding weapons at the fair. The State Fair of Texas passed a new policy this year after a man opened fire in a crowded food court last year, wounding 3 people. Condasis pushed back on the suggestion, saying the fair will be gun-free, noting that millions of dollars are spent each year on safety and security measures, and more than 200 uniformed and armed officers will be present at the fair whenever the gates are open, which, depending on how many people there are, that may still not be enough. We know it's an important issue to many Texans, and the fair's decisions may disappoint potential fairgoers who regularly and responsibly practice license to carry or constitutional carry. However, the fair strongly believes this is the right decision to move forward. Well, we'll see how that goes. Could be exciting. I mean, how am I going to shoot out the red star on the paper without my handgun? I mean, come on. Let's see if we can end this with some fun. There's a lot of stories on here. Don't worry, moderators. The stories that we don't use today, we will either roll over into next week, or we'll use them for videos on demand or whatever. Your efforts never go unappreciated. We love our moderators, and we love them so very much. Can we give a shout out to Tony in particular? First of all, he's been recovering. And second of all, he's by far and away popped up to be the most active moderator, and I do appreciate it. Plus also, of course, Kestrel and Rose and our other moderators, A. Hedinger, and all the rest of it. The ones that help us keep the channel flowing in a relatively, workable state. Yeah. If any of our moderators, incidentally, have any experience with video editing in general, I probably need a point person to talk to our video editor. So if someone wants to be other than me, let me know. You don't necessarily have to do video editing yourself, but you might be able to give better instructions than I can because you know how to talk video editor. So if you have experience with that and you want to help, let me know. Excuse me. All right, let's see what we got. Let's do this one. In I didn't get my lap dance news, a man has driven his car, his semi-truck, I should say. A man drove his semi-truck into a strip club after being kicked out, killing one and injuring two others. Around 4:19 in the morning, when all good decisions are made, here apparently, by the way, I don't know why this just strikes me, the juxtaposition just strikes me as odd. I'm so sorry for laughing at this. I don't know why, but it says full nude, and then there's just a picture of a naked cab because it doesn't have the trailer on it. I don't know why that made me laugh. I apologize. That might have not been in good taste. Around 4:19 in the morning on August the 13th, police officers responded to a call for a truck versus pedestrian in a parking lot of the Gentlemen's Club. Upon arrival, officers found the truck had crashed into the front area of the building that leads in the entrance. Witnesses report the driver had just been kicked out of the club and then returned to drive the truck into a group of people standing at the entrance. As a result of the crash, an adult male was killed and two other adult males were injured but are expected to survive. This is an unbelievable tragedy, said Tampa police. This guy's going to jail for the rest of his life. We will work to get justice for the victims and their family. We're thinking of those impacted. The driver was taken into custody and is currently being hospitalized. Charges are forthcoming, I would think, for top count murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. That's not going to end well for you. All right. Let's do 2 stories involving meth and one story involving a gator, and we'll call it a day. In my mom always said that celery was good for my diet news, agents have found more than 2,300 pounds of meth hidden in celery at Georgia's farmers market. Well, I knew that the celery that you could find at the farmers market was going to be better than the celery that you could find at the grocery store. I just didn't realize how much better. Apparently, peanut butter goes well on celery. And you can make soup out of celery. Also good with celery, meth. I'm learning so many valuable things here. Celery was used to conceal more than 2,300 pounds of meth that federal agents discovered in a truck at a farmer's market outside Atlanta, the DEA said. In what the DEA said was one of the largest seizures of its kind, agents confiscated the drugs before being delivered to the Atlanta State Farmers Market in Forest Park. The agency learned about a semi-trailer coming across the Mexican border, and agents tracked the drugs to the farmers market. The drugs were found inside the truck. Who is going to the farmers market, ma'am? This was contained in the cover load of celery. It was hiding in the celery. Obviously, we threw away the celery. That didn't make it to the store. Aw. Why not? Why don't you just wash the celery? It would have been fine. It'd been the best celery ever, man. Aw. A Mexican citizen was arrested, the Atlanta television station reported. Details about the suspect and charges were not immediately available. Using produce to conceal drugs has been a frequent tactic of smugglers. I mean, isn't coffee more traditional? Or do they not do that anymore? Meth is a highly addictive substance, you don't say. It's primarily manufactured and distributed in the U.S. by Mexican drug cartels. Overdosing on meth can cause health problems. Celery is not the first vegetable meth has been involved in. Earlier this year, dogs helped detect 6 tons of meth hidden inside a squash. I am going to the wrong farmers markets, man. I am going to the wrong farmers markets. Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection agencies found more than 3,000 pounds of meth and cocaine hidden in bins of jalapeno paste. Drugs have also been found concealed in shipments of green beans, stashed in sugar shipments. Sugar makes more sense, I guess, because white powder. And being smuggled in flour bags and candy boxes. Also, flour makes sense because white powder. Cocaine has also been used to find inside banana shipments several times across the globe in recent years. Maybe they're not doing the coffee thing anymore. Maybe that's passé. In Not My Father's Candy news, a food bank apparently distributed candy that had been made from meth. Neat. This apparently is a picture of the candy. Rinda pineapple flavor. Well, that's a lie. It's not pineapple flavor. It's meth flavor. A New Zealand charity working with homeless people in Auckland unknowingly distributed candies filled with potentially lethal doses of meth in food parcels after the sweets were donated by a member of the public. Holy shit. Someone is donating their meth to charity? Wow. That's great, man. Who knew? Who knew, man? Someone's donating their meth to charity. Spread the wealth, I guess. Damn. Auckland City Mission said Wednesday that staff has started to contact up to 400 people to track down the parcels that could contain the sweets, which were solid blocks of meth enclosed in candy wrappers. 3 people were treated in the hospital after consuming them. That's but were later discharged. The candy tastes different. The amount of meth in each candy was up to 300 times the amount that someone could take, usually, and could be lethal. Ben Burks-Ank, a Federation spokesperson, said disguising drugs as innocent, innocuous. This is every parent's nightmare when it comes to Halloween. Apparently, the Halloween thing is real now, but only in food banks in New Zealand. Ben Burke's Onk, a foundation spokesperson, said disguising drugs as innocuous goods is common technique, and more of the candies might have been distributed throughout New Zealand. The sweets apparently had a street value of $608 per candy, which suggested the donation might be an accident. Either that or someone's just feeling very generous that day. The authorities' initial perceptions were the episode was likely an importation scheme gone wrong. Detective Inspector Glenn Baldwin said, but the nature and scale of the operation were unknown. Officials have recovered 29 of the candies, but did not know how many were circulating. Police were investigating reports that someone had attempted to sell one of the sweets online. So someone figured it out and tried to put it on eBay or something. Man. Some drug lord somewhere is not very happy right now. Some drug lord somewhere is very unhappy about the meth candy distribution. I think some drug lord somewhere probably is going to have a meeting pretty soon to remind people about best practices when it comes to meth. I think there might be some reprimands coming down. The city missioner, Helen Robinson, said 8 families, including 1 child, had reported consuming the candies. The revolting test led most to spit them out. The charity's food bank accepts only donations of commercially produced food in sealed packages. The pineapple candies, stamped with the label of a Malaysian brand, Rinda, appeared as such when they were donated. Auckland City Mission was lured Tuesday by a food bank client who reported the funny tasting candy. Staff tasted some of the remaining candies and immediately contacted authorities. How would they know how to do that? Did one of them know what meth tastes like? That'd be hilarious. One staff member who was taken to the hospital after sampling the sweet, Baldwin said, adding that a child and a younger person were also treated in the hospital. The candies have been donated sometime in the past 6 weeks. The police would like to give you your candy back, by the way. They'd really love to reunite you with the candy. It's unclear how many have been distributed that time and how many were made of meth. Rinda said in a written statement, the candy learned through New Zealand news reports the candies may have been misused and will cooperate with authorities. We want to make it clear that Rinda Food Industries does not use or condone any illegal drugs in our products. Meth, of course, is, powerful in the drug, and don't do the meth. If anyone has any pineapple candies they want to share with Uncivil, let me know. Not funny that it happened to kids, that's true. All right, let's wrap this up with Florida Man. Let's wrap up today with Florida Man. And Uncivil considers taking tomorrow off. I might take tomorrow off. I need a break. Maybe I'll join that new gym and go lift something. Or maybe I'll find a different gym. I get so many VODs done with the candies. That's true. That's true. Florida man has been arrested after lassoing an alligator, tying it to a fence and calling 911. The hero we need, people. The hero we need. I can join the cult of Laphrodite. Boop. That is a lassoed gator, man. That is surely what that is. Yes, that's true. A 71-year-old Florida man is under arrest after police say he lassoed an alligator, tied it to the fence, and reported to 911. The Brevard County Sheriff's Office arrested the man on July 31st in Cape Canaveral. Colin told the police he had arrived at a local canal with plans to capture an alligator he had spotted. Okay. There, the police say he used a white nylon rope to lasso the alligator. He succeeded, according to the affidavit, capturing the creature by its jaw and tying the rope to a handrail. Afterwards, he called the police and claimed he found the alligator already tied up before walking away. Police had found security footage showing the 71-year-old lassoing the alligator. He's charged with injuring an alligator and released from jail after posting $2,500 bond. He was not present for his first hearing. This guy looks like he might sample some pharmaceuticals. The 71-year-old told the local news outlet he didn't think he was breaking the law. His intention was to save other local animals from the gator. I tied a line here because I saw a snout coming out of the pipe. He hooked his upper jaw and I tried to take off, but was already here. Colin told the news he was joking when he told the police he found the alligator. This is a very public area and they feed, of course, the turtles. So I thought I'd help out. That was my intention. Neat. Well, my friends, that is the end. That is the end of the Thunder Show. So we will be continuing to experiment with the edited content. If fate is kind, I may yet be able to hire one of these editors. We will see. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll go from there. So I may put out a video tomorrow. I may not. We'll see how it goes. If I do put out it, I could put out the one. I could put out the one that the editor edited for me if he gets back to me, because right now it has a watermark on it. But if he edits it for me, I might post that one so I don't have to do work. They put music? They put like sound effects in there and stuff. So, yeah. I'm trying to find someone I can use. Oh, and then there's one that Kestrel told me about, and I still have to contact that person. Oh, Lord. Oh, she DM'd me, right? Or was it Rose? Rose. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what we can do in terms of putting out something. So I might put out one tomorrow. If I put out one tomorrow, it's probably going to be on the Fourth Circuit decision regarding the ban on the AR-15s. That's the one I had sent to all the editors as my demo piece. So I had sent it to like 4 different editors and got like a couple different replies back. There was one editor who just didn't reply back to me at all. Yeah, I'm trying to find an editor I can find that I can work with. Is challenging. So we'll see what we can do. If you need me, you know where to find me. Contact me on Discord and stuff like that. We'll talk more there. I'm tired right now. We'll go from there. Dr. Berg? What? Who or what is Dr. Berg? Oh, you're talking to Tony? All right, never mind. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.